Hello everyone. I hope you all are keeping safe and healthy wherever you are. Welcome back again to this channel where we discuss A to Z concerning our health and our well-being. Alright, if you're just new here, my name is Chidema Okafo. Okay, I will always encourage you to watch our video, subscribe, share, please. If you have any requests, let's know in the comment section. All right, to our returning subscribers, thank you for sticking around. I love you all. Okay, so today I would like to talk about foodborne illness. Foodborne illness. Okay, this we know is very common, but they are frequently preventable illnesses. Okay, so I would like to split this discussion into different step or sub topics so we can understand it very well. All right, in the first place we talk about foodborne illnesses. What does it really mean? The causes of foodborne illnesses. Okay, the symptoms, the food contamination. What are things that can cause food contamination? Then we'll talk about people that are at risk of food poisoning, or not really foodborne diseases rather, and again preventive measures. Okay, so just stay tuned, subscribe, share with your friends. You might be helping people unknowingly. Please don't be too selfish. Share, 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 and subscribe if you still want to see me here. Okay, so without wasting much time, let's dive right in. Foodborne illness. Foodborne illness are those illness caused by consuming contaminated food or contaminated beverages. You get my point? Food illnesses that are being caused, or illnesses we get from eating contaminated food or eating contaminated beverages. This is just what foodborne illnesses mean. And these foodborne illnesses, their symptoms might range from mild, abdominal pain to life-threatening symptoms. Yes, that might even require medical attention. Yes. Okay. So we want to talk about things that can cause foodborne illnesses. I keep on saying food poisoning. Sorry about that. Okay, things that might cause foodborne illnesses. They are basically classified into three things that can cause foodborne illnesses, and one of them in the list is microorganisms. Or we know microorganisms, pathogens. They are microorganisms that can contaminate our food. Although you can't see them with your eyes, your two eyes, they are microbes. That means you can see them, but they are pathogens that can contaminate our food. When we talk about contamination, food contamination, it just means presence of all these unwanted microorganisms in our food, or presence of other foreign substances in our food, okay, that make them unhealthy for consumption, or that can make them, that can predispose us to have some, symptoms or illness after consuming them. All right, so coming back to their causes, we have microorganisms as the number one cause of food poisoning. And when you come to microorganisms, bacteria is the most common one. Okay, we have the number one bacteria is Salmonella. Salmonella is the number one cause of food poisoning, and this salmonella can be found in raw meat, can be found in raw vegetables, uncooked uncooked meat, poultry food, and some foods, and even shellfish. All right, so these are just where we can see this salmonella, and they causes a lot of symptoms like diarrhea, vomiting, abdominal cramps or abdominal pains, and other discomfort. So then the second microorganism that can cause foodborne illness is what? Clostridium. We know Clostridium difficile that can be found in air, water, or even soil. In this country, UK, most of the problem they have is, when you is a very serious issue. When you suffer from clostridium deficit, we know about them, their symptoms, it comes with a lot of discomfort, diarrhea, sometimes they might even have fever. Okay, so is caused by Clostridium. All right. Okay. Then this Clostridium can be found in water, in the air, in the sea, in the raw meat, even in the poultry meat as well. So then the third one is what? Dysentery. We know dysentery that is caused by parasite or even viruses. This dysentery is more common even in the schools. Yes, and it's spread by fecal oral because it's mostly in the feces. So while dysentery sometimes being trans is fecal oral, that means if someone that is suffering from dysentery doesn't really observe good personal hygiene, it can easily transfer it to another person. Okay, so let me take for instance, after using the toilet, the person did not wash his or her hand very well and handles something, maybe food, edible, something to another person, the person can easily get it. Okay, these are just dysentery. Then we have bacillus is also found in what? Raw meat. Most of them are very dominant in raw meat, in vegetables, in polluted, water, even seafood, shell foods. They contain most of them contain a lot of these microorganisms. That is why we need to wash them very well. We need to cook them very well. Okay, so the next one is norovirus, and these are just for microorganisms. When we have the second cause of food poisoning, we have chemicals. These are just something like insecticides or other chemicals at home, maybe cleaning agents like bleach and other stuff like that. They might contaminate our food and cause foodborne illnesses. All right. The last one in the list is natural poison. Some food can some food contain a little bit of toxins that can cause foodborne illnesses, like mushroom, some as in kidney beans. Some of them have a little bit of toxins. When you consume them, they might predispose you to have foodborne illnesses. So these are just the causes. Then I want us to talk about food contamination, because we can't just talk about foodborne illnesses without talking about food contamination. Food contamination is just means presence of unwanted microorganisms in the food or in our drinks or in anything we eat. Okay, and there are some lifestyles that can cause food contamination. So we have few lifestyles that can cause food contamination, and one of them is poor personal hygiene. We know all it means: not observing personal hygiene, maybe proper washing of your hands, not tying up your head while cooking, not observing personal environmental hygiene around the kitchen, not using a clean utensils to cook, not even using a clean equipment can as well cause food contamination, that can contaminate our food. The next thing is cross contamination from raw food to cooked food. This might happen during handling of the food or during storage. The way you store your food can cause them to cross infect each other. Okay, so the next one is cooking food in advance, in too advance. Okay, maybe you want to eat food next week, you cook it this week. It's always advisable to cook food closer to time of consumption as far as possible. Although sometimes it's not really realistic, but what I personally advise is that when you cook food, make sure you store them very well at the right temperature. Okay, then another thing is poor handling of food. Yeah, poor handling of food. Then we have poor storage of food, because sometimes when you store food in the fridge, you don't store it in the right temperature, don't store it in the right side, it can as well cause the food to be contaminated. All right. So these are just a few lifestyles or ways our food can be contaminated. So now I want us to talk about ways we can prevent foodborne illnesses, ways we can prevent them. One of the ways is by observing thorough personal hygiene. Okay, by washing your hand properly, by tying up your hair. Make sure you wear clean clothes. Make sure you wash your body very well. Okay, if you have any wound in your body, make sure you cover them very well. Don't infect others through the food you cook. Then another thing is maintaining your equipment, maintain thorough cleanness of your equipment you use to cook. Wash your pot very well. Wash your blenders very well. Wash your air dryer, whatever air fryers you use to fry your meat very well. Okay, make sure you clean everywhere. Okay, to minimize the microorganisms contaminating your food. Then another thing is you can do to prevent foodborne illnesses is storing your food very well at the correct temperature. Okay, this will also help you to minimize the growth or multiplication of microorganisms. All right, this will take us to hand hygiene. I really want to talk about this hand hygiene because when you talk about food contamination, hands is the key way microorganisms can get to our food. Whether you want to believe it or not, hand is just the key way, number one way microorganisms can get our food. So I really want to emphasize on hand hygiene, okay, because it's very paramount. It's very, very important that we observe a good hand hygiene. If you want to get rid of microorganisms, if you want to avoid contamination of your food, if you want to avoid these foodborne illnesses, you want to or need to observe a good hand hygiene. Because even if you want to give someone food, you must use your hand. Even if you want to wash vegetables, you must use your hand. Even if you want to wash your meat, you must use your hand. Even if you want to, separate your beans, you must use your hand. And it's the same hand you use to go to the toilet to clean up yourself. It's the same hand you use to handle some stuff, dirty things like that. So you need to observe good hand hygiene. Right? Here in UK, even in most hospitals, we we don't joke with hand hygiene because even in the hospital, wherever you come in, you see whatever leaflet everywhere indicating steps to observe while washing your hand. This is because research has shown that some parts of the hand are frequently missed whenever we wash our hands, like the back of the hand, the thumbs, then the in between the fingers, they are always missed, whether you want to believe it or not. Even the fingertips, they are always missed whenever you wash your hand because you can just go under the sink. That is it. Okay. So I want to use this opportunity to demonstrate 6 steps of hand hygiene. Anybody can do it. You mustn't be a healthcare practitioner. You can even teach little children how to observe them. They will do it better. Okay, so let's just observe me. Let's do it together. First of all, you first of all come to your sink. You have your soap there. Put your soap Put enough soap on your palms, then rub both palms together, palm to palm. You see what I'm doing? Okay. Then back of hand, of opposite side. The 2 fingers interlace. You see what I'm doing? The 2 fingers interlock. The 2 fingers interlock. Fingertip to palm. Fingertip to palm. Then wash your thumb very well. Wash your thumb very well. Then wash your wrists. Wash your wrists. Then rinse, pat dry. Okay, if you follow this step, you can see that you will hardly miss those areas. You make sure that you cover all the areas of the hand. Okay, this is why it's very important to follow this step. I want to do it again, so just listen. You can do it. All right. So first of all, put your soap. Wet your hand. Put your soap in your palms. Then put them together, palm to palm. Back of hand of one hand, back of hand of the opposite hand, 2 fingers interlace. You see it? Fingers interlocked, fingers interlocked. Watch it very well. Fingertips to palm, fingertips to palm, your thumbs of the opposite hand, your wrist, your wrist, rinse with water, pat dry, pat dry. Okay, with this we've covered all the areas of the hand. Okay, so one thing I want to talk about again is storing food in the right temperature. This is very important because we know the normal body temperature of human being is 37 degrees centigrade. And quite unfortunately, these microorganisms, pathogens, they thrive well in this temperature. They grow very well. In fact, the research said that they can grow up to, they can thrive up to 60 degrees centigrade. They can grow up to that 60 degrees centigrade. Once they get to 63, they will begin to die. So what does that mean? That you have to store your food away from danger zones. What is danger zone? Danger zones are temperature range where microorganisms can survive and multiply. All right, and then this danger zone is between 5 degrees centigrade to 60 degrees centigrade. So what it really means is that you must store your food. If it's in the fridge, you must store it at a temperature between below 5 degrees centigrade. Then if it's out, maybe you've cooked your food already, you must make sure that you cook it above 60 degrees centigrade to make sure you kill all the bacteria. Okay, all right, make sure you cook your food properly and store them properly to avoid that danger zone. I say it again, that danger zone are zones where microorganisms can survive and multiply, and this danger zone is between 5 degrees centigrade to 60 degrees centigrade. So that means you must store your food away from this danger zone. Heat it very well the above the danger higher limit, and then store it in the, like meat, store it in a coldest part of your fridge, especially in the bottom. All right, that will take us to fridge rules. Fridge rules says that first in, first out. What does that really mean? If you go to grocery shopping maybe this week, and the next week you're also going for grocery, so what it means is that those food you bought today need to go first before those food that you buy next week. All right, so when you come back, remove the old food in the fridge, keep them outer part so you can easily access them. You use them first before you start using the fresh one. Okay, and make sure you use food within their dates. Don't use food that is expired or those one that is out of date. Use food that is within their date. Then make sure that the fridge rule says that the top part of the fridge will be for things that are ready to be used. Food that are ready to be used. The middle part of the fridge, because the temperature is a bit stable there, will be for things like egg, poultry food like egg, ice cream, yogurt should be there. Then towards the bottom of the fridge, you will store your meat. All right. Some people end up mixing everything together. At the end of the day, you cross contaminate your food. So vegetable, those things that are ready to be eaten should be up there. Middle, you have your milk, your egg, your yogurt, your ice cream. Then at the bottom part, you have your food. Your meat, your raw meat, your chicken, and other stuff like that. Frozen meat should be there. All right, so this is the fridge rules. All right, so if we do this, and if we are really consistent with this, I think we can minimize foodborne illnesses to a minimal level. We can minimize it. Yes, so try as much as possible to observe these simple rules. Try as much as possible to wash your hands often. Try as much as possible to observe personal hygiene. Try as much as possible to cook your food well. Cook your food well, piping hot. Don't eat cold meal. Make sure you warm your food and warm it once. Some people will warm food, they want, before you know it, the food gets contaminated. So make sure you warm food just once. All right. So these are just the things I feel like sharing to you, especially this season when we are really celebrating. Okay, this season where we are having a lot of events. When you go, try as much as possible to observe good personal hygiene. Wash your hand very well. Be careful of what you eat. Wash fruits and vegetables very well. When you want to prepare your salad, make sure you wash them very well. Okay. Then when you buy your food, vegetables, keep them in their packets. Don't open them up if you don't really want to use them that time. Leave them in their packet and make sure you eat food that are in date. Don't eat expired food and store your food properly. All right. Okay, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for listening. Please share this video. Share, subscribe. Okay, I will see you again next year. Thank you. Stay safe. Bye for now.